Endurance. Acceptance of self, a small poem which I've written here. Without any dependence, without any attachment, I want to cut the strings that pull me back. With no regrets from the past, I steady myself to face the future. With no repentance but an acceptance of self, I put my best foot forward to shape out a destiny of my finest self. Well, chapter 5, Endurance. It talks about a few things which happened in my life when I started two things together. So one is not able to take sometimes too many changes at one time and one gets confused. So it is talking from that angle. I went through a confused time when I got my son married. Along with happiness, gaiety and jubilation, some imaginary fears also sneaked in. डर लगता है पता नहीं कैसी लड़की आएगी घर में क्या होगा and then everything changes in life and so many changes happen. You have to accept things are different. It also coincided with my decision to giving in to age and giving up coloring my hair. I had decided to be fair to my age after his marriage. I noticed another change in me that I had not warranted for. I started losing my temper and cool at little things. This way of being was quite contradictory to my apparent good-natured self, whereby I normally let things pass. When I was wondering why I was so touchy, I realized I was low on endurance. Once this diagnosis was done, I started analyzing its causes and strange relationships for being with endurance came up. I remembered overhearing a conversation of my husband with Colonel Gurmeet Sethi at our office. He said, two vital changes together become difficult to handle and you mess up with either or both. This was in context with one of his students who had cracked the IAS exam and had got married right then. In the tug of war of wife and work, as both can be quite demanding, especially in the beginning stages, he gave up his marital life for the coveted jobs. Jobs are so difficult and so highly priced in our life, and this was IAS. I realized I was doing the same mistake. Being mom-in-law, I had planned to be friends with my young, bubbly daughter-in-law. While by not applying color, I was letting age creep in and I was resigning to old age at the young age of 62. It was quite a similar situation to the incident I shared above. There it was work and wife. Here it was a tussle between twilight and dawn, autumn and spring. I had not seen that dichotomy. I had not realized how crucial is the make-believe youth created by dyeing your hair to keep our spirits high. But throwing tantrums and getting upset about trivial issues could be related to the fears of being dependent, weak, or just being resigned or accepting old age. Just realizing the fears I had in my mind gave me freedom from the consistent repentance after the cacophony of the outburst. Now there was a choice. I could go back to looking younger or be comfortable with my new look. Just as I often say, wine and women get better with age. Just as it is said, age is just a number, I could add dye is just a color, or I could start coloring my hair till I was ready. By the way, I went back to coloring it. Endurance has a direct relationship with the interrelationships. Let us get one thing straight. If our being is happy and contented, our being, हम जो अंदर हैं, we will generally be loving and kind. We may let go of major blunders as at that time endurance is high. When we are disturbed or sensitive or touchy, one could throw a tantrum at the drop of a hat. We need to have our own endurance test every day, just like the blood pressure or sugar is monitored almost every morning. Health is one important parameter that affects endurance. The day you feel weak, you will be more vulnerable to getting more cranky and upset. The young will also agree with me that mood swings are high when the health parameters plummet. The reverse is true here too. If you are getting cranky or upset over trivial issues, check out. There is a good chance that you have been skipping your multivitamins. Endurance is at its ebb on those days when you are weak. Endurance, however, does not mean being at the receiving end. It just means not breaking down. In fact, endurance shows strength, tenacity, malleability in crisis. All who survive in the face of adversity have one thing in common, and that is endurance. To give an example, whether it was Nelson Mandela, who was in jail for 27 years, or Mahatma Gandhi's 241-mile civil disobedience march, to cite one example of his non-violent fight for independence. All of these are supreme examples of endurance. Endurance is one of the most mistaken qualities. It is taken as weakness of the person who exhibits or advocates it, as he apparently chooses inaction to action. However, it can be equated to the non-violence that won us freedom. Endurance keeps us not only in mental balance, it takes us out of many messy situations with grace. Thank you. So this was the fifth chapter of ABC of Being Loved, which is available on Amazon by Kulwant Kaur. Do grab your copy.